We've called the attendance and gotten that in order. I want to point out to you, first of all, that one of my former students, who is now the president of the NAACP here on campus, has gone forth and done an excellent job, attended the Board of Regents meetings, and helped push forward some corrections with the Smith-Brown murders. As you know, we did a paper on the Smith-Brown murders. That is something that I do every semester with all of my classes, the Smith-Brown murders and the Joseph S. Clark paper. Again, as I've said, I always feel that it is important that information be disseminated about the legacy of the institution which you attend. Mr. Lagarde, I didn't know you were in the band, so I know you understand the traditions and whatnot of the band. But Ashante Gleason went, they got a decree signed, so they're going to be having those individuals that actually were a part of the Smith-Brown incident, they're going to be speaking on it, and they're going to have a march downtown. Those who participate in the march or go to the event, you will receive 100 bonus points. Those who are here now, I'm about to show you, before we begin the lecture, I want you to see the little 3-minute video that she did.
How we gonna prove it to you?
I'm gonna tell you. That's an excellent question. If you attend the event, you will be able to just do a little brief summary and prove to me that you went. See if we can get some volume on this. Hell. I don't think this is. Anyway, I was going to just give you the points if we watch the video here now, but it doesn't look like we will be able to do it, but this is the young lady. So you can go and watch that and comment watched, and I'm going to give you 25 bonus points for watching. She's talking about the dates and everything that's relevant, so that's important that you take heed to that. I'm very proud of her. She's one of my former students from about 3 years ago. She even mentions me in the video, which I'm proud of, and that's what it's all about. She said, had it not been for me, she would have not been cognizant about the Smith-Brown and the importance of that happened and the legacy of what they did in effort to try to create change. So check that out. Free quick 25 points, Kiana. All right? Once you get the information and she tells you about the events, if you choose to go and submit a little paragraph about what happened, I'm going to give you 100 points. Don't you need that? Good deal. Kiani, huh?
I was about to say, how we gonna find out then? You said
She's discussing. When you watch the video, she's going to tell you the dates and where it is, when the people are going to be here at Southern, so all that information will be accessible to you. Leah, where did we leave off at from your excellent notes? Where did we leave off at? Ma'am? Yes.
We left off on Lesbos.
Lesbos. Kiani, where did we leave off? Lesbos. So let's continue there with that. So we talked about looking at the Greek cultures. We're looking at the two phases. Quinn, what are the two phases, two time periods called as it relates to Greek culture? What are they?
I'm not too sure. I wasn't here.
You got to be sure. CC. Jabin, what is the title of the two time periods that Greek history has been dubbed by historians? What is it? Leah? Hellenic and Hellenistic. You got to know that. Elena, what is the original name of Greece? No. Ms. Dominique, what's the original name? What did the Greeks call where they lived? Hellas. So you have Hellas, Hellenistic, and Hellenic. Hellenic is the first period that we are discussing, which is also known as the classical age. So we talked about the development of the polis, what that means. We talked about city-state governmental entities. We talked about Sparta. We talked about Athens. We talked about Sophocles, Euripides, Herodotus. So we've looked at the development of, we talked about some of the wars, et cetera, et cetera. But I left off talking about the island of Lesbos and the ideal or the concept of how homosexuality was highly acceptable and regulated as a norm in this culture. That it was typically glorified in their literature, in their art, and I showed you some photos of men being together. The island of Lesbos, which I alluded to, and write this name down, Sappho, S-A-P-P-H-O, was a poet from the island of Lesbos, and thus we get the term lesbian. Sappho wrote about love tales and intimate relationship between women. Some historians have asserted that there was a shortage of men there, so natural human desire kind of kicked in, the desire for companionship. I want to go back and reiterate that according to the text, same-sex relationships were generally accepted all throughout Greece. In classical Athens, or in the Hellenistic period, there was a concept, write this down please, Jabin. It's known as the Male Adolescent Citizens Training Program. Male Adolescent Citizen Training Program. Yes, ma'am. I shall. Male Adolescent Citizen Training Program. What this involved, oddly, or entailed, was a sexual tutorial between an older man and a younger boy. Now, the older man was called a mentor. Oddly enough, these men could be married and have families, but that was viewed more or less as being necessary for procreation. So they understood that homosexuality cannot produce procreation. So these men would have their wives, but they would still be involved with younger boys of puberty age. This was highly accepted. The book says these relationships between young men and older women, young men and older men, were celebrated in the literature and in the art. The island of Lesbos came and evolved in the 6th century. I want you to get that date, the 6th century BCE. The 6th century BCE. Did I give you the terminology when we talk about the etymology of words, what words mean, how they were additionally used? Did I give you the 4 or 5 words in the Greek that love means? Kiani, repeat that for me, please.
AGAPE.
Agape.
I can spell this one. PHIROSUS.
Okay, philos.
Yeah. And
Okay.
Storage.
Storage. Okay. What is storage?
Love and affection of children.
Love for your children, parental love. Eros, CC, is what? Speak up a little bit for me. No, eros as it relates to the etymology of the term love. What does eros mean? Brandon.
Intimate passion.
Intimate passion. Eros. Erotic. So I'm just pointing this out to you for us to understand that sometimes a word, we can lose the true meaning of the point that's trying to be made through translations. So, but the highest form of love was this love between men. And let me pull this term up for you. Did I give it to you, pedestrian? Mm-hmm. Tell me what that means. Somebody, come on.
Boy love.
Boy love. Spell a word for me.
PEDERANTY.
Pedestrian in ancient Greece. Pedestrian in ancient Greece was a socially acknowledged romanticism between an older man and a younger male, usually in his teens. Pedestrian. This was glorified. This was something that occurred and was considered a norm. Now, if we try to look